Alright, a very good afternoon for our viewers who are joining us this afternoon for our afternoon session for our TikTok live stream. Okay. We're picking off where we left off during our noontime session, taking a look at the P5 Nan Hua end of year paper from 2023. Right now we're still at booklet A of paper 2, looking at the vocab MCQ section. Okay. Earlier this afternoon we've covered the grammar MCQ section before going to some of the vocab questions for today. Okay. As always, wherever you're listening to this from, whether you're on the way home from school or you're at home, very good afternoon to you. Hope you had a good Thursday. Okay. And if you managed to find a spot to sit down, maybe you could take out some writing materials or get ready put on your thinking caps as we embark and try to answer some of these questions over here. So just a recap of what we covered in our live stream so far. Earlier this afternoon, we covered the 10 grammar MCQ questions, followed by a couple of the vocab questions that you can see right here on your screens right now. We've covered the first 3 of 5 vocab MCQ questions. We'll proceed to the next 2 vocab MCQ questions. Before shifting gears on over to the vocab closed passage. Following the vocab closed passage, we'll then be going into our grammar closed passage before wrapping things up for this paper with the editing passage. And as always, if time permits, perhaps we can take a look at a different paper later on in this session. Okay, but that depends on our speed that we'll go through the practice paper for today. Right, our emphasis on our life for today is to focus on equality, make sure we are learning more, and make sure we understand what we are learning, rather than focusing on covering a quantity of papers as many as we can. At the end of the day, we hope after our live stream session, you have a fruitful time with us over the next 1.5 hours, and hopefully you have learned something new that you can take away with you and apply and practice in your work, whether or not it's for exams or WAs, for your writing, or even just for your professional proficiency in the language. Right, without further ado, let's proceed on with this paper. Once again, this is the P5 end of year 2023 paper from Nan Hua School, looking at the paper 2, testing you on your language fundamentals and basics, looking at the MCQ section. So that will just be booklet A for now. As I was sharing with those who have joined earlier, we already had a bit of a head start on the vocab section, right? We covered a bit of the vocab section earlier on this afternoon, where we took a look at the first 3 vocab questions. Question 11 talked about phrasal verbs, right? Phrasal verb can be a particularly tricky topic for some of our viewers over here, especially if you're taking it at the primary level, and you haven't really had the exposure to phrasal verbs in everyday speak or in your usual text of reading. Phrasal verbs can be a particularly tricky space to navigate over here. Nonetheless, phrasal verbs need not be a sticking point over here. If you're struggling with phrasal verbs, there are many resources online and guides online that can help you to answer these questions revolving around phrasal verbs. I have a question on my little lip over here. The screen is too small. Okay, I see. Give me a moment, I try to expand it. Alright, so the tablet has to be fixed in the landscape mode, but I'll do my best to try to expand the screen size over here. And wherever possible, I'll also zoom in the relevant questions. If there are relevant points to discuss, I'll zoom in and then make sure that it's clearly visible on the screen as well. At any point in time also, if you wish for me to revisit some of the other questions or you would like me to discuss a further question in greater detail, please let me know in the chat. I welcome all participation and comments so that we can have a better understanding and clarify our doubts on the spot rather than to bottle them up for too long. And as always, if you're interested, back on the topic of phrasal verbs, right? Phrasal verbs are a common sticking point that some of us have difficulty in answering, but no worries for answering phrasal verb. There are resources online to help you navigate the difficult world of phrasal verbs, one of which including our Writers at Work resources. Okay, so eyes on the screen over here. If you check out our Writers at Work TikTok page, let me try to see if I can find it. Okay. If you were to check out our Writers at Work TikTok page, you will see on the Writers at Work TikTok page, you will see a link at the bottom over here for our TikTok viewers. You can click on the link over here in the bio. It sends you to this link tree, including all of our articles as well. If you're interested, you can check out the shop over here on the second tab. Right on the second button over here, you have 5 products for cheat sheets. One of these products include looking at phrasal verbs. Okay. Oops, I'm not supposed to see that. Okay, right. So if you access this Google Doc over here, you have a list, a comprehensive list of all the phrasal verbs that you might come across in your work. Okay. For example, if you look at question 11 over here, question 11, David and I had arranged to play football in the field last evening. Unfortunately, the plan blank when it started raining. Okay, question 11 over here. The plan blank. So you have 4 phrasal verbs over here. Our answer was fell through to fail. But in case you don't know what fall through means, no worries. You can always check out our phrasal verbs worksheet over here. It's in alphabetized order, so it's easy for reference. Just go down to phrasal verbs starting with the letter F. We get to this point number 44. Number 44, fall through. Okay, what does it mean? To fall through is to fail something that doesn't happen. Okay, how do you use it in a sentence? His plans to trek through South America fell through when he got sick. Okay, right, so this is just one of the many phrasal verbs we have over here for access to our students and now also to our viewers on TikTok as well. If you're interested, this is all available online, especially from Writers at Work. Students ask, or viewers ask, how many phrasal verbs do I need to learn for PSLE? I cannot give you a hard and fast number over here, but right here on this resource, you have a total of 123 words, right? 123 phrasal verbs that you can have at your fingertips just by accessing this website over here. Okay. In addition to the list of phrasal verbs, you also get to look at some exam guides to help you study and learn and pick up phrasal verbs as well. How do you apply them in a sentence? In what specific context or usage should you be looking at phrasal verbs? Okay. And all these and more are all available to you right at your fingertips, literally at your fingertips. Just go to your device on TikTok, go to Writers at Work link tree, and then you get to see all the cheat sheets that are available for you. Any questions? Right, so feel free to access these documents over here. They are all available for your perusal at your own time. Okay, alternatively, if you'd like to check out other content that we have available, please feel free to check out our shop as well as the links on our different social media channels. Right, and that is it for phrasal verbs in question 11. Before looking at question 11, we switched gears on over to questions 12 and 13, both of which looked at adjectives. Okay? Adjectives for the state of a place, before adjectives for emotions over here. Among these 4 adjectives that we're looking at, some of the more relevant ones that you could find useful, or perhaps a point of note over here, some of our earlier viewers this afternoon for noontime had a bit of a quandary over how do you answer questions about adjectives. When do we use the adjectives in the correct context or in the correct sentence or meaning? Okay. Firstly, for question 13, we're looking at 4 different emotions. To be dejected. To be dejected is someone who is feeling extremely sad or to be feeling extremely upset. While to be conceited is someone who is feeling a bit arrogant. Okay. Now to be mindful over here, conceited sounds quite similar to another word, conceited. Okay. The difference lies in the third syllable over here. Conceited ends with a T, considered starts with a D over here. So that could be that confusion that some of our viewers had in the earlier session. To be conceited is to be arrogant, while to consider is to let in or to surrender. Okay, I think the notes were erased off, so let me just fill this up and patch this up. Considered is to let in or to surrender. Someone who is remorseful is someone who is feeling guilty or feeling regret over a wrongdoing they have committed. So this remorseful option for option 3 does work for question 13, because upon realizing his mistake, he immediately apologized. Okay. Both of these keywords over here, mistake and apology, point to an admission of wrongdoing, acknowledging that there was a mistake being made, acknowledging that there was a wrongdoing being committed, and thus choosing to apologize. So there's an element of guilt and regret captured within the question over here that makes remorseful the best suitable choice. And finally, for exasperated, to be exasperated is to be frustrated and impatient. Okay. Right, and this is where we left off in our noontime session. If you're interested to see what else we discussed in our noontime session, please feel free to check out our social media channels, including YouTube, where we upload reruns and recordings of our previous live stream sessions. Right? And occasionally also can stay tuned for upcoming sessions of our practice paper go-throughs. Occasionally we might revisit the same practice paper for the benefit of those who missed out on our first session. Okay. So still keep a lookout, and remember to keep the notifications on in case we are going on live stream. Okay, question 14. Question 14 is a tricky question. These are 4 words that perhaps some of us have seen in passing but have not fully understood what do they mean or what definitions they carry. A special queue was set up to give blank to the elderly to enter the theatre before other visitors. Okay. So our job over here is to fill in this blank, to give blank to the elderly. What does this blank give them? It gives them the power, or rather it gives them the ability to enter the theatre before other visitors. Right? This is certainly the case, especially in many other countries where the elderly have certain concessions. Right? On public transport, if you are seated near an exit, normally you need to give up your seat to an elderly or someone who has mobility disabilities. Right? Okay, so this is quite a common concession over here to allow the elderly to enter the theatre before the others. Keyword being before, right? Giving them a certain preference to enter the theatre before anyone else can get a seat. Okay. So keeping this idea in mind, what do each of these words mean? Okay. Or perhaps if you already think you have the answer, which option do you think works best for question 14? For my little lip, is the screen big enough now? My little lip? Okay, hopefully the screen is big enough so that you can view the text comfortably, right? I don't want to induce myopia in any of our viewers over here. Okay. Let's unpack each of these words individually, because there are some words that we are less familiar with. Okay, what do we think? Priority, okay, this is something that some of us have seen before, right? Priority. You're given special priority. What does it mean? To be given priority is to be given preference. Okay, let me take it down. Preference. Some of us, when we're visiting theme parks, amusement parks over the holiday, right? You visit Universal Studios Singapore, you have your Fast Pass. If you visit Disneyland, you have your Disney Express ticket, right? All of these tickets and passes allow you to skip the queues to take the rides first, so you don't have to join the very long queues in these amusement and theme parks. Okay? So a priority pass allows you to have a preference against others in a similar line, to be treated more important as others. Treated as more important. In this case over here, to make something a priority is to give it a higher level of attention, a higher level of importance, right? As a student, if you're watching this, your priority is to study hard, because that is your only job, is to study, perform well, and also make sure you learn as much as you can. Depending on different occupations or different roles, if you're a student leader, your priority is to uphold an image and also be a role model for your fellow students. If you're a CCA leader, your priority is to uphold the image of the CTA to achieve excellence in its respective areas. Okay. Question 2, option 2, urgency. Now, what does urgency mean, and how does it differ from priority over here? Something that's urgent is something that is important, but also requires a swift action, and a swift action will follow. It's time sensitive. You need to respond to it quickly and urgently. It's an emergency. Question 3, to give authority. What does it mean to give someone the authority to do something? Is to empower them. To give them the power, give them the abilities such that they are able to carry out orders or to make decisions. And finally, option 4, attention. What does it mean to pay full attention to something? To give attention before the other visitors. To give attention is to focus on, to concentrate. To dedicate your attention, to dedicate your energy and concentration to something. Okay, oops, let me just change that. Okay, now although we do have this idea of focusing on, concentrating on, giving the elderly special access to the theatre before the other visitors, priority has the closer meaning of giving them special treatment, right? Treating them as more important before the other visitors. They have a preference to it. So in this case, priority has the closest match to our answer compared to attention. Okay. So thank you very much For my little lips response as well as for 𝗖𝗢𝗓. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it right, but 𝗖𝗢𝗓, thank you very much for your response as well, for getting the right answer. Okay. Finally, question 15, the last in our set of vocab MCQs, but certainly not the last vocab question we'll be seeing today. Okay, and this is one you should pay attention to. These are a list of idioms. Okay, what are idioms? Idioms are common sayings that are meant to be read figuratively. You're not meant to read it literally word for word, but rather they have a figurative meaning of a common saying. Okay, let's look at the options first. Option 1, keep her chin up. To keep your chin up is to remain optimistic. To remain optimistic in spite of difficulty, in spite of challenges. Okay. So keep your chin up is to remain optimistic, to remain cheerful and hopeful even though you're facing insurmountable obstacles and difficulties in your way. Option 2, getting your hands dirty. What does it mean to get your hands dirty? Okay, there's a certain element of physical and manual labor involved in this idiom over here. It means to become involved, become directly involved in a situation. Now, what kind of situation do you think this would be? When you say you get your hands dirty, right? What type of image does this bring up in your mind? Perhaps a situation that is less than ideal, that is imperfect. Okay? So in this case here, to get your hands dirty has the meaning of becoming involved in something, but it has a negative connotation. Normally talks about being involved in something that is unfair, being involved in something that is dishonest, right? If you cheat in your exams, or you collaborate with your friend or your desk mate to cheat together in the exams, you are getting your hands dirty by being an accomplice in this dishonest act. Okay, so to get your hands dirty is a negative connotation for becoming involved in a situation. To have her nose in the air. Okay, this can be a pretty tricky one, but just try to visualize this idiom in your mind. Alright? Someone who walks around with their nose in the air, how would they appear? How would they look like as they're walking around with their nose lifted high up? Okay, what kind of personality, what kind of character do you think they have if they're walking around sticking their nose in the air? It gives off a certain sense of privilege, a bit of superiority. Okay, so that is the case of option 3 over here. Someone who has their nose in the air, someone who has a superiority complex, someone who behaves in a way that is superior to others, who believes that I'm better than anyone else. Okay, you might come across some of them in your schools, in your respective schools, right? Occasionally, you might have some students or some fellow classmates who, as Little Lip has correctly pointed out, yes, a certain degree of arrogance is connoted with has a nose in the air. Certain schoolmates, certain classmates over here who act as if they are the king or queen of the school, they walk around believing they are superior, they are arrogant, they are better than everybody else. Okay, so that's what it means to walk around with your nose in the air. And finally, to a heart's content. The fourth option is a slightly different way of doing it. To a heart's content over here is the main idiom we're looking at. Okay, it's preceded usually by a verb, followed by this idiom. Okay, to your heart's content, that means as much as you want or as much as you like, according to their wishes. right? After the exams, I played video games to my heart's content. So I played it as much as I want, as much as I wish to. Okay, according to their wishes, according to their intentions. Okay, after unpacking all these three pretty tricky, pretty unwieldy idioms, which best captures the idea of question 15? Nobody likes to work with Kim, who often blanks, displaying a superior attitude towards others. Okay? So Kim displays a superior attitude towards others. She acts as if she's better than everyone else. The correct answer here would be option 3. She has her nose in the air. Okay? So well done, my little lip and Faith, for getting the right answer. Okay, both of you, well done for getting the right answer here. My little lip and Faith. Okay. And 𝗖𝗧 also, if you're still in the chat, 𝗖𝗧, let's see if you've gotten this answer right for question 15. Okay. Any questions for our vocab MCQs thus far? Okay. And before we proceed with the next section, are there any other vocab words you have come across in your school compos or your school revisions that you have difficulty unpacking? Okay. Any particularly difficult questions, adjectives, nouns, even idioms that you've come across that you do not really know how to use in a sentence? I think it's good if we can discuss it here also while we are on the topic of vocab and idioms, so that we can understand and clarify some of these doubts over here on the spot. Any questions you've had before in the past that you struggled with or you are unable to find an answer to? Okay. So as we flip through our memories, we try to recall questions that we have some difficulties in. If you have any along the way that you wish to clarify, you wish to raise, please feel free to leave a comment in the chat over here so that we can discuss them together for your benefit as well as the benefit for the rest of our viewers. Okay, thank you very much for those who are joining in. You're just in time to proceed to our next section, our vocab close section. Excuse me, sorry. Okay, our vocab close section reads: Jason's inconsiderate, playful nature often gets him into trouble with his friends. One day, Jason started taunting David with hurtful names, igniting a heated argument between the two. Fueled by anger, David pulled at Jason's shirt to throw a punch at him. While trying to dodge the punch, Jason fell backwards. He struggled to regain his footing, slipping several times, much to David's amusement. A teacher near the scene quickly intervened and was surprised that both boys were unscathed in the event. When the boys were composed, the teacher mediated between them and made Jason recognize that David did not appreciate the name calling. Jason promised not to mock his friends anymore. Okay. I have a comment from... I have no idea how to read this username, but I'll try. Bella has mentioned that they have seen this worksheet in school before. Possible you might have seen this in school before, because this is a very recent practice paper from quite a popular school. So perhaps this is something that you have come across in your school worksheets before, this short passage over here. Okay, so I expect Bella to at least take the lead in answering, and maybe you can even score full marks for this section, alright? Let's try it out together. Okay, let's give it a shot, Bella. Our first question, question 16. Jason started taunting David. Okay. What does it mean to taunt someone? To taunt someone is to provoke a person. To try to provoke, to get a reaction out of them. Right? if you have any siblings or if you have any classmates who are particularly rambunctious and playful, you've come across people who are quite you come across others who tend to taunt and try to make a fool of the people around them by provoking them into an unexpected reaction. Okay. Keeping this in mind about provoking someone, which of these four options in question 16 carries this idea of provoking someone without intention? To provoke a person, to try to get them angry, get them riled up, to raise their temper over here. What do we think? Okay. See, some of us are furiously typing in our answers. I'll give it a little more before we drop our answers in. My little lip and Bella have gotten in their answers. Last call for answers before we look at each of these words individually. Okay, alright. So we've had our answers from our viewers. As we go through the words also, if you think you need to change your answer or if you'd like to make any adjustments, you can do so before we reveal the correct answer. Okay, first one, option 1. To fool someone. To fool is to lie or to trick. Okay. To pull a lie or to pull a trick on a person would be to fool them. While chiding is to scold a person. To insult, well, I think all of you know what it means to insult someone, to disparage or to belittle a person. To belittle or to hurt others with your words. Belittle or demean. And finally, gesturing. Gesturing to someone is to call attention to them, to get their attention. Okay, to raise someone's attention. For example, during the exam, I gestured to the invigilator if I could use the restroom, right, during the exam. I didn't want to speak out loud to distract the others, but I needed to gesture to the invigilator that I needed some attention. Okay. So between these four definitions over here, the one that best matches the idea of provoking, taunting someone to make them feel angry, would be option 3. Okay. Option 3, to belittle or demean them in a way with hurtful names to ignite a heated argument between the two. Okay. So well done, Bella and my little lip, for getting the right answer for question 16. Let's see if you can keep up a hot streak for the remaining 4 questions. Alright? For the rest also, please feel free to join in the way if you think you have the right answers. Let's see if we can make it to the end with a perfect record. Igniting a heated argument between the two. Fueled by anger. Fueled by anger, David pulled at Jason's shirt, threw a punch at him. So over here, we're replacing the word of being fueled by anger. Which of these 4 options in question 17 carries the idea of someone who is feeling furious, who is fueled, driven by anger? Okay, once again, locking in the answers in the chat. Okay, I have some answers floating in. What do the rest think? Okay, it's okay. It's alright if your answer differs from some of the others over here. We'll be seeing why some of the answers are right and why some of them are perhaps less right in this case over here. Okay, but nonetheless, let's try to fill in our answers. Hi Hyunjin, welcome. Hopefully your prelims went well last week, right? Hopefully you had 1 week off your prelims. Okay, we are on question 17 right now. Okay, so if you think you have it, you can drop in your answers for question 17 before we go through the options. Henry hasn't been here in a long time. Yeah, neither have I. So that makes the two of us. Let's start firstly with option 4. Okay, let's go back up this time. Okay, to be incredulous. To be incredulous is to be in disbelief. Something that is unbelievable. Okay? Cannot believe something that is happening, right? To be in complete disbelief. To be astonished. To be astonished is to be shocked, right? To be surprised. Okay, I see Bella has confirmed their answer. They removed the question mark from their answer, so perhaps they're feeling a bit more confident with it. Okay, let's see whether or not that will be correct. Okay. How about sorry, frenzy and enrage? When do we use frenzy? When do we use enrage? Okay. A frenzy is used. Okay, no worries. Let me zoom out for the benefit of our viewers who have just joined in. We're looking at question 17 over here to replace the word fueled by anger. When do we use frenzied? When do we use enraged? While frenzy can be used to describe wild or uncontrolled emotions, we're not just looking at any emotion in particular, right? We're looking specifically at the emotion of anger. Okay? So anger is a closer match for option 1, to be enraged, to be furious. And that is why, although both the first two options are quite applicable in this case, the one that is the closest, again, you're not looking for the right match, you're looking for the closest match. The closest match for being fueled by anger over here would be option 1, to be enraged. Okay, Yippee, yes, indeed, well done, Bella, for getting the right answer. And also, yes, Hyunjin, to be enraged is when you cause someone to be very angry, to provoke someone, to make them feel extremely angry and furious at you. Okay, well done for getting it right. I think Bella over here is on a hot streak over here, 2 in a row. I guess it's good that you got in your class practice with this worksheet because you're doing this very well now. Okay, let's see if you can keep it up all the way to the end. And for the other viewers as well also, if you think you can cut in along the way to try to steal the lead, give it a shot. Question 18. David pulled at Jason's shirt to throw a punch at him. While trying to dodge the punch, Jason fell backwards. He struggled to regain his footing, slipping several times, much to David's amusement. Question 18, we're looking to replace the word several times. Several times, let's take a look at our options in the 18th question. We have regularly, repeatedly, incessantly, and occasionally. Which of these 4 options carries the idea of several times? Okay, Hyunjin and Bella are quick on the button. Okay, let's give a little longer for the rest of us to get in our answers, right? Maybe it's always good to take a pause over here. We should not default to should not default to our first answer in case we have made a careless mistake. Okay, so let's study options closely. Once we are confident of our answers, we can safely put it in. Okay. My little lip joining back in with option 2 as well. There's like nowhere else that wants to answer. That's not entirely true. I think Faith and 𝗖𝗢𝗡 did very well just now for the earlier sections, especially for vocab. So I think these two are just some of the ones that could also get the right answer over here for Faith and 𝗖𝗎. And maybe teacher James also knows, right? Several times. Okay. Let's look at the first option. Regularly. Regularly means something that's happening at fixed times. Fixed or scheduled timings. Everyone becomes a CCTV, right? Okay, so it's important over here, while this is a live stream, this is not a movie. You're not just sitting and watching them with just your eyes glazed over. It's important to engage actively also and keep your brain spinning. Alright, I understand some of us might be a bit nervous about entering your answers in the chat. That's fine also. Some of us are a bit shy about putting our answers in the chat as well. That is understandable. But at the end of the day, also make sure this is a two-way process. I'm not just narrating to you. You also need to think and constantly check if you have your bearings with you as you're answering the questions as well. Right? Learning is an active process over here. Learning doesn't take place just with someone talking to you. You also need to reach your own conclusions, like we see in option 2. Repeated, something happening over and over again. Over again for several times. Incessant. What is incessant? Pardon, Obayo. Right. What do we think over here for incessant? Incessant is continuous. For example, I cannot study at home because my neighbors are incessantly creating a ruckus, right? My neighbors are incessantly creating a ruckus, so I cannot study at home. I cannot focus and do my work at home. And finally, occasionally. Occasionally means sometimes, not frequently. Okay. In this case here, I think the closest match will be repeatedly and incessantly, as some of you have correctly pointed out. But let's look at the context of the sentence over here back in the passage. Jason fell backwards and struggled to regain his footing and slipped several times. Okay. Now, several times, you replace it with incessant, what happens? Jason would start slipping continuously, and that wouldn't be very good for Jason, right? Every time he tries to stand up, he'll slip yet again continuously. He'll never stand up, and that isn't too great. So that doesn't really make sense over here, leaving us with the only option of option 2, repeatedly. Okay? He would sleep repeatedly. Andre has raised the point. Incessant has a negative connotation. Okay, let me try to understand where this point is coming from. Okay. Yes, you could use incessant for negative verbs with a negative connotation. The adverb itself doesn't have a connotation. Okay, something to take note of. But it can be used to describe the verbs. For example, your classmates are chattering incessantly despite your teacher's warnings or instructions. That would be incessant, and that would be, in this case, a negative tone towards your description of their actions. Okay, yes, so incessant noise and incessant commotion definitely could be used in a negative tone or negative context here. Okay. But thank you very much for the clarification, Andre, on the usage of incessant in a sentence. Okay. Anyone else has a question about question 18 or any of our previous questions? Alright, back to the passage. Much to David's amusement, a teacher near the scene quickly intervened and was surprised that both boys were unscathed in the event. We're looking to replace the word unscathed over here. What do you mean by unscathed? To emerge unscathed from something is to emerge without hurt, without harm. Okay. And this is quite surprising, right? Despite going at each other's throats who are trying to punch and slip and injure each other, both of them ended up not being harmed or without any hurt. Without harm or hurt, okay? To be unscathed. So let's keep this definition in mind as we tackle the question. To be without harm or hurt is option 4. Okay, that would be the closest match over here for uninjured. Neither of them received any injuries despite the physical brawl. For the remaining 3 options, they are not quite used in this sentence over here. Okay. Right, Bella has the answer in again by removing a question mark, feeling very confident with her answer. 𝗪𝗡𝗡𝗘𝗧 over here is trying to call out to Hyunjin. Let's see whether Hyunjin responds. Okay. So uninjured refers to without harm or without any hurt. Move this down for clarity. Yeah, okay. While to protect someone or to protect something is to insulate them from harm or danger. Insulate or shield. From danger. Again, not quite the meaning expressed over here, but the 2 boys not receiving any hurt from punching or getting in a fight. So protected, unfortunately, isn't a good match for this question. Okay. Now finally on to question 20, I'll be looking at Bella to see if they can wrap this up with a perfect round. And also let's see if 𝗪𝗡𝗡𝗘𝗧 will be able to get in the first right answer. Question 20. When the boys were composed, the teacher mediated between them and made Jason recognize that David did not appreciate the name calling. Jason promised not to mock the friends anymore. Okay. So looking to replace the word appreciate over here. He did not appreciate the name calling. Okay. Look at the options. Which of these 4 words carries the idea of not appreciating the name calling? Okay, last one's for vocab over here. Which option do you think it is for question 20? David did not blank the name calling. Okay. Put yourself in David's shoes. Would you like it if someone called you names to try to provoke you? Probably not, right? So if you do not like someone calling you names, you mean that you would not like them, you would not blank, he would not accept it. Any other options apart from option 3? And I think my little lip has option 4 as well, although answers are flipping across the board. Quite frequent changes over here. Option 3 and 4. Anyone wants to try option 1 and 2? We have Hyunjin and 𝗖𝗓 and Faith also with their previous answers. Anyone here thinks it's option 1 or 2? Okay, so let's, in the interest of time, let's ignore them from consideration. Let's just focus at 3 and 4. Okay, when do we use 3? When do we use 4? To accept. To accept is to allow. It's unacceptable, it is unallowable behavior. Okay, cannot be allowed, cannot be accepted by something. How about welcome? Where do you use welcome? To welcome is not only to greet but also to receive. In a friendly way. That's why when you have guests and visitors over to your home, you will welcome them with open arms, right? To receive someone in a friendly manner. Both of them seem to mean, both of them can fit in the blank over here of David not enjoying Jason's comments and unkind remarks. But which of these two is the closest match? Closest match for appreciate. Both of them make sense in the sentence, I agree. Both make sense, but which is the closest match for appreciate? To allow or to receive with a certain friendliness? When you say you appreciate someone, you are accepting it and you're not accepting it. When you say you appreciate someone, there's a certain level of affection that comes with it, right? I appreciate your remarks, I appreciate your comments, I appreciate what you've done for me. There's a certain degree of personal feelings, a certain degree of emotions, affection from one person to another, a warm relationship characterized by appreciation. Okay. So we're looking more at the emotive nuance of this word over here. The closer word that does capture this idea of emotion being attached to it would be option 4, welcome. Okay. So for those who have gotten it right, well done for participating and also getting in your answers as well. Okay. If you've gotten the correct answer and managed to change it in the nick of time, well done. If you did not get the right answer, you got tripped up by option 3 as well, it is perfectly fine. At least today you have learned something new from this live stream over here, right? I always tell our viewers, if you get it right, that means that's a sign that you're on the right track. If you get it wrong, that is a learning opportunity for you to learn something new. At the end of the live stream, you can take away something after these 1.5 hours over here. You can apply these skills and practice them in your own sessions of revision. Okay? So well done for those who have participated actively. Give yourself a round of applause and a pat on the shoulder for tackling these set of pretty tricky questions, I would say, especially for the vocab close. Okay. Any questions for the vocab close you have just covered? Any of the questions or words you'd like us to revisit or to maybe explain in greater detail? Okay. For example, just now Andre pointed out for question 18. For question 18, Andre pointed out that incessant could potentially have a negative connotation. Okay, so that's a good spot by Andre. And at the same time also, if you have any similar clarifications or any questions you'd like to ask, just like Andre, please feel free to drop it in the chat. Alright, okay, if that is it, we shall now be switching gears on over from vocab back to grammar in booklet B of our paper. Okay, let's look at our grammar close. Sorry. This grammar close talks about the 3 R's. What are the 3 R's that we learned in school? When it comes to the conserving the environment, what are the 3 R's that we've learned of? What do you know are the 3 R's of conservation? Okay, reuse. Yep, reduce. Reuse. Reduce. Okay, yes, reduce is a very important R as well. Reduce our consumption. And recycle. Okay. Reduce, reuse, and recycle are the 3 R's that has been ingrained into our minds when we look at the 3 R's. Today's passage over here talks about environment and conservation messages is particularly important not only for the grammar close for today, but also for general knowledge, right? Talking about the environment is a pretty popular topic or theme, especially for our upcoming PSLE exam takers. Okay, I know we just finished PSLE English Oral quite recently for this year's batch of PSLE students, but for next year and onwards, you have to look out for paper 4 oral, right? Occasionally, in the past couple of years, there's been a trend of environment questions in your conversation and dialogue, asking you what are some habits or what are some good habits you practice with your family to change their behaviors to be more environmentally conscious. So the information that we learn in today's grammar close passage, it is useful not only for the grammar and fundamentals of the language, it is also useful to help build up our knowledge about the theme on the environment for our oral exams. Mine was the park. Yeah, especially for some of us as well who've recently taken your oral exams, you have seen variations of these questions and other similar kinds. Okay, so as always for this section, for Bella and Creamy Parfait, both of you had the same oral topic. Okay, so as always for the grammar close passage, we need to be able to list down the letter we're looking at, and we can only use one option for one blank. So you cannot use repeated options for across different blanks. Starting off with question 29. Recycling is like a wizard spell that helps save our planet. It is a simple, blank, powerful way to make a big difference. What we see over here is a contrast, right? Simple and powerful. So let me list this down as the contrast. If something is powerful, like Superman is powerful, we don't expect his powers to be simple. If something is simple, for example, learning English is simple, it's not a powerful tool. Okay. In this case here, you have contrasting ideas, contrasting descriptors of recycling as a way to make a big difference. So what is the correct conjunction you should use over here to link up two contrasts? Okay. It seems like once again our two active participants have nailed in on the right answer. It's option P, yet. Simple yet powerful way to make a big difference. So well done getting it right across the board. For the other viewers also along the way, if you think you have the right answer, please feel free to chime in with your correct answer. Okay. So now option P is officially off the board. You should not be using option P again for the remaining questions. Okay, keep that in mind. One option for one blank. You can only use each word only once. Recycling is the process of turning used materials into new things, giving old items like cans, bottles, and papers a second chance blank life. A second chance blank life. Okay. Looks like we have a few very strong grammar experts in our midst over here. So let's see how long we can keep the streak alive. Yes, slay. Very slay. Much slay. Okay, what do we think? Option H. A second chance in life. Okay, I see option H as well. But me says differently. Me says A. Option A, at a second chance at life, right? Interesting idea. Anyone else wants to pick up on B's response over here of why do you use option A, at life? Or is the crowd rather partial towards option H, second chance in life? Excuse me. Okay, yes, it seems like our answers have dwindled around options A and H, second chance. When do we use at? When do we use in life? In this case here, this can be particularly tricky for some of us who might not have come across this expression before. This is a collocation question. To have a second chance at life is to have a second chance to go about doing the right thing. Okay, so the correct answer here is option A, a second chance at life over here, a second chance to contribute and to live out their life as a different product. Okay, so well done me for nailing the right answer over here. This is a particularly tricky question because many students would not have come across this expression before. Okay, so well done for being well read and understanding how do we use these prepositions over here. For those of you who have gotten it wrong, okay, don't be too disheartened. There are also many students who have gotten this question wrong. In fact, in this entire closed passage, this entire grammar closed passage, this question 30, is the one with the highest error rate among all the students that have taken the paper. Okay, a bit of fun fact and trivia for you. Okay, so if you've gotten this wrong, don't be disheartened. Many others have gotten it wrong as well. But that means that next time you come across this question, you have no excuse to get it wrong. Okay, I expect to see you on the correct side the next time round. Question 31. Here is blank, it works. First, we collect recyclables, blank. So, blank, it works, proceeded by explaining the steps, right? So, which should be the correct option for question 31, explaining the different steps on different methods? It would be option F, exactly. Okay, here is how it works. How is used to explain or introduce the steps or the method, the breakdown of how a process is being carried out. First, we collect recyclables in special bins. Blank, these materials are taken to a recycling facility to get sorted and cleaned. Okay, as always, if you see the start of a sentence, right, we have a full stop over here. We have a full stop at the end, followed by a comma in the next sentence. So we have one word at the start of a sentence that's immediately broken up by a comma. This gives you a hint. Okay, this is a pretty obvious clue over here that you're looking for, a conjunction. What are some examples of conjunction you've seen before? Look at the rest of the sentences. First, next. Okay. These are all examples of conjunctions that indicate a sequence, or rather the passage of time, right? One sequence to the next. So which conjunction should be used in question 32 to indicate the next stage in the process here? Okay, looks like there's a split of answers over here. Options G, options M. Okay. For user B, would you like to come in to break the tie between options G and M? Or for some of the earlier viewers as well, by Little Lip or Hyunjin, you want to come in with your answers and weigh in on this topic for question 32? Which is the correct conjunction to use over here to indicate the next step in the process? So let's not overthink this over here. In this case, you're indicating something that happens after a previous step. It would be option M. Okay. First, we collect recyclables. Then, these materials are taken to the recycling facility to get sorted and cleaned. Okay. Then, option M. Okay, so well done for those who have gotten it right. Next, they go blank, several stages to be created into new products. Go blank over here is a phrasal verb. Okay. You're looking for a phrasal verb over here. for question 33, what is the correct phrasal verb to imply or suggest the idea of undergoing or experiencing several stages to be created? Okay. To be undergoing several stages is to go through. Okay, yeah, well done. Once again, option N, to go through. Okay. And as always, phrasal verbs can be tricky. If you have difficulty learning or studying for phrasal verbs, feel free to check out our resources that we have online for the benefit of all of our viewers. Let me see if I can find it. Okay, right. Again, back to this page over here. From where we found this, if you go to our TikTok page, click the Linktree link over here. It will direct you to our Linktree. But don't go to this, go to the shop. Go to the shop, but in this case, this shop, you don't have to buy anything. Just go to the second cheat sheet over here. Select the document or the file that says Writing at Work Enrichment Phrasal Verbs. Okay, so the first one in the top left-hand corner. Okay, I'll give you a moment to navigate to this page. Okay. Once you're ready, you can click on it and then you open up a document. Okay. By opening up document, you'll see a list of 123 phrasal verbs all at your fingertips that you can refer to. Okay. Let's go to go through. Go through starts with the letter G, so alphabeticized. Let's go down to the letter G. Letter G. Get along with, get in, get on, get off, get by, give up, go through, option number 63, all right? Number 63, to go through, that means to experience or to undergo something. Okay. How do you use it in a sentence? Increase the brightness. Oh, sorry. How do you use go through in a sentence over here to experience? Andy went through a lot of pain after his mother passed away. Okay, again, go through, go over here, change it to the past tense. The past tense of go is went. Okay, Andy went through a lot of pain after his mother passed away. Okay. Yeah. Yes, Bella, you can definitely use this to study. Not only does this contain a list of phrasal verbs to learn, we're not throwing you off the deep end with this gigantic list of phrasal verbs. At the bottom also, you can see at the end of this document, there are studying tips also that provide additional information of how do you study and learn phrasal verbs. Okay. So these are just some of the methods in which we teach our students, and also now to our viewers on the live stream over here for today. How do we use and pick up to practice using and applying phrasal verbs in our writing, as well as answering our questions. So you can feel free to read this at own perusal. Again, this is publicly available. You don't have to sign up for anything. You don't need to pay for anything. Just go to click on the website and then you can get the cheat sheet over here. Okay, you can print it out. You can paste it on your wall, paste it as your wallpaper, up to you. Okay, but this is some way that you can learn it and learn these words and phrasal verbs well. Right. Okay. Okay, but this is only for our viewers over here who are joining for today's live stream, alright? For your friends that are interested who are asking, hey, how do you find this? Where do you find this from online? Okay. You can share with them, or you can also ask them to tune in for our live stream over here. Maybe they'll also find out if we go through this. Okay. Ask them to check out our live stream over here to see this cheat sheet that we just covered, as well as other cheat sheets that we have available on our blog as well. Okay, so this is just one of the multiple cheat sheets we have available for everyone. Okay, but it's a secret, so don't tell those that didn't join today's live stream, alright? Just between you and me. Okay. Okay, back to phrasal verbs in question 33. Next, they go through several stages to be created into new products that blend functional and purposeful. New products that blend functional and purposeful over here. You're looking for a verb that points to the subject of nouns, right? Subject of noun, the subject of products. Products over here is a plural noun, right? Product singular, products plural. So because sorry, products is your plural noun, you need to look for a plural verb in blank 34. That would be option D. Okay, yes, well done for those who have gotten it right. And once again, a very warm and return welcome to some of our viewers from Double Smiley Face who I've seen quite often before. Welcome back, Double Smiley Face, along with Teddy Bear. Welcome back. Okay. Option D for are. Because we're looking at the plural noun of products, we use the plural verb. They are functional and purposeful. Okay, well done, 3 of you for getting it right. This process of recycling is like a magic show. Old newspapers become new paper, and empty soda cans become shiny bicycles. Blank, not all collected recyclables can be recycled due to them being contaminated. Alright, so for those that were here earlier for this grammar close section, we talked about this, right? Where you have a word, a single word at the start of the sentence, followed by a comma immediately after. What kind of word is in this blank? What category of words would be in this blank over here? They will be a okay, I see connected from Double Smiley Face and conjunction from Creamy Parfait, right? This is exactly what we talked about in question 32. If you were to shift your eyes up to the top left-hand side of your screen, we look at question 32. Again, the same style of question. You have a single word at the start of a sentence followed by a comma. Okay, so again, this needs to be filled by a conjunction, also known as, could also be treated as a connector by Teddy Bear and Double Smiley Face. Right, and well done, Hot Fella Baby, for doing well for your Chinese O levels. It's definitely a very tricky paper, so well done for your Chinese O levels. Creamy Parfait, Teddy Bear, and Double Smiley Face all have gotten your answers in for this option, and that is indeed the case over here. Option G, however. However is used as a conjunction to indicate a contrast or subversion of expectations. While some materials can be recycled, however, not all of them can be recycled due to being contaminated. We all have a part to play, blank this magical act. We all have a part to play. Preposition usage for question 36. What is the correct preposition over here? Preposition usage. Creamy Parfait has gotten their answer in. What do the rest think? H in. Right. In this case here, it would be option H in. A part to play in this magical act. Okay. Now we may not be familiar with the usage of this preposition in over here, but you come across part to play, right? One thing that I find personally helpful to remember to use how do some of these expressions work in a sentence would be to look at how I commonly use them in everyday speech and conversation, right? If just recently at the start of this month we had the National Day Parade, and during National Day Parade you've heard many messages, song lyrics talking about every Singaporean having a part to play in building and supporting our nation, in contributing to our racial harmony. So again, a part to play is a common phrase being uttered during our National Day parades. If you're familiar with it, you know how to use this preposition quite naturally from then on. So as always keep your eyes and ears sharp and open as you go about your everyday life. You never know where you'll pick up on certain useful English tips. We all have a part to play in this magical act, acting as eco-warriors, making blank world cleaner and greener. making blank world cleaner and greener. Okay. Over for question 37, which of the options over here best suit question 37? Okay, I see some answers coming in from 𝗖𝗓𝗡𝗧 and double smiley face. Okay, how about teddy bear? What do you think, teddy bear? Yep, certainly the case, right? We see it over here, the keyword of we. Oops, let me remove that. We as your pronoun over here. We points to this being in the first person pronoun, hence it should be option K, our. Okay, so again, a very close link from the start to the end of the sentence over here. From what point of view are we taking this position? We have a part to play, and we need to make our world safer and cleaner and greener. Okay. This is a first person POV, first POV. So the next time you see a recycling bin, think blank the magic it holds. Remember, you can create magic by just recycling. Okay. Finally, question 38 to wrap things up for our grammar close. Think blank the magic it holds. Question 38, think. Okay, double smiley face has gotten an answer in, followed quickly by 𝗖𝗓𝗡𝗡𝗧 and teddy bear, right? That is to think about the magic that you see in a rubbish bin or recycling bin, okay? The magic it holds. Okay, well done for our grammar sleuths over here. All three of you done very well. Clearly you can see that a 10 upon 10 or you're scoring very well for prelims is a good precursor that you're headed on the right track over here. So well done for 𝗖𝗓𝗡𝗡𝗖𝗓. Well done for all our viewers over here gotten in the right answers at the same time. Okay, so I think we have a little bit of time left. We can proceed and end off today with our editing passage. Okay, Ducky. Hi, Ducky. Welcome back from our noontime session. Yep, we're all feeling much better and much well rested after our noontime break. Okay, and you join us in at an opportune time because we've just completed our grammar close passage. We'll be heading on to our final session for today's afternoon live stream over here, the editing passage. And as always, before you head on to the final section, if you're interested in our other live stream timing schedule for today, I have it here. Okay, we had an earlier session just now that some of our viewers have managed to chance upon, the 12 to 1 p.m. time slot. Okay, let me copy this over. Okay, so this is for the benefit of our viewers who occasionally have time throughout the week to join us over here. For today's time slot and today's schedule, and this afternoon we covered the first half of this paper from 12 to 1:30 p.m. before this current live stream from 2:30 to 4 p.m. And later at 4:30 p.m., Teacher Cha-Chin will take you through a different set of practice papers. So stay tuned for that when he returns. Question from 𝗖𝗓𝗡𝗖𝗧, listen to music. What's the difference between play in and play for? Play in and play for. Okay, is this reference specifically to a specific question or sentence context you'd like me to take a look at, 𝗖𝗓𝗡𝗖𝗧? Or just in general, when do we use the phrasal verbs of play in and play for? Is there a particular sentence you'd like me to take a look at or a particular question you'd like me to discuss for play in and play for? Um, okay. Alright, perhaps if I could discuss this in greater detail over here for the benefit of our viewers who have submitted your questions. Thank you very much for submitting. So there was no response, but I'll do my best to try to understand what the question was raised over here. Play in is a combination of a verb and a preposition. For example, if you are representing your school in a game of basketball, right, you'll be playing in this round before being substituted out for the next player on the bench. Okay? So it's a verb or preposition. There isn't a phrasal verb for play in. Okay? There isn't a phrasal verb for play in. Play for. To make a play for has a few different variations of this idiom. Okay, to make a play for. Okay, let me just, for the interest of. To make a play for is to try to get someone to do something, or to play for time, to try to delay something. For example, at the end of the quarter, with just one goal away from winning the match, the winning team was trying to play for time, trying to delay the match so that they could get off the last goal. Play in is not a phrasal verb. No, play in is not a commonly used phrasal verb. Okay, so very careful distinction over here that I need to make between phrasal verb versus verb and prepositions. All right. That goes back to our grammar question, our vocab question at the start. Verbs can either be paired together with a preposition to have a meaning. For example, you fell off a cliff or you fell off the ledge if you're not careful, right? To fall, the action of falling, the verb, and then off referring to the preposition, the motion of falling, you fall off something. However, phrasal verbs are meant to be read together as a single verb. Okay, so a very important distinction over here is no longer read as a verb plus preposition, but as a single verb. Okay? If something falls off, it's something that declines or that weakens over time. For example, if you say a popular game in the past started to fall off over time, it declined in popularity or it weakens in popularity. So very careful distinction over here. Not all prepositions that follow phrase verbs are always phrasal verbs. Phrasal verbs are a special category of verbs. Okay? A special category. Okay, does that answer our questions over here in the chat for phrasal verbs? For he may love listen to music, or hi may love, sorry, hi me love listen to music. Does that answer our question? Okay. Alright, so in the interest of time, I'll be proceeding with the editing passage. But if you have any burning questions, if you feel like your questions were not adequately addressed over here, please feel free to DM us or leave me a message so I can discuss it, or I can respond, or we can respond to you directly for much more detailed clarification over here. Alright? Okay, but thank you very much for listing out your questions over here for our discussion. Okay, this editing passage talks about a letter. Dear Hector, I want to share an interesting discovery with you. I incidentally discovered an old mansion near which I live, well hidden within a dense undergrowth. First question over here, this is a spelling mistake. The correct spelling of incidentally. Can I give you a minute or two to type it in for double smiley face and teddy bear? Okay. Right, incidentally is spelled INCID. Okay, so take note, it's not an S, it's a C. Incidentally, accident, by chance. Okay, by chance, incidentally. I incidentally discovered an old mansion near which I live, well hidden within a dense undergrowth. Now this is the wrong usage of the word over here. Near blank I live, near where I live. Okay, so wrong word usage over here. Rather double smiley face and teddy bear. Question 41. I only managed to check out the exterior of the mansion. Exterior. The outside of the mansion over here, it's spelled EXT. Okay, EXT is the easy part. What are the vowels that go within? Right, ERIOR. Okay, well done, double smiley face and teddy bear for getting the right answers for the spelling. Before the sun went down. From the looking of it, this is in the wrong word form. Grammar mistake. What should be the correct word form of this? From the looking of it should be the noun of looking, which is look, right? From the look of it, as 𝗖𝗎𝗡𝗡𝗘𝗖𝐬 joining in along with double smiley face and teddy bear is correctly pointed out. From the look of it, the mansion is definitely deserted. Okay, this one can be tricky. How do you spell deserted? Deserted. Okay. DESSER. Okay, any mistake over here for deserted? Any mistake, Bell, for deserted? Right, 𝗪𝗓𝗓, good spot over here. There's an extra S, right? What does this dessert mean? This dessert refers to your treats that you have after your meal, right? So, common misspelling between students. When do you spell that dessert to leave someone alone? When do you spell dessert? At least for me personally, one useful tip that my students have found useful is just to remember, right? When you eat dessert, what does it taste? It tastes sweet, right? So if it tastes sweet, that's because it has extra sugar added. So if the extra S over here, there's two S's because it's extra sweet. It's super sweet, there's extra sugar inside, that's why it's dessert with a double S. Okay? If it's just one S, it's not as sweet, so that is dessert. Yes, so useful tip again, you can use these mnemonics to help you understand and memorize the spelling for these tricky words over here. I walked around the mansion trying to peep into every of the windows. So this is the wrong usage of the word every. You should be using into each. Oops, sorry, wrong ink. Each of the windows. Trying to peep into each of the windows. Okay, good question from Desiree. Also, not Desiree, sorry. From Teddy Bear and double smiley face. All of the windows. Why do we not use all over here and why do we use each? Okay. In this case here, this talks about the motion or rather the step carried out, the process of checking every window one at a time. So you're talking about the exactitude, the scrutiny of each window over here, going by one at a time. So you're looking at each, not so much all of it as a whole. But my attempts were futile. Now, futile over here is a spelling mistake. How do you spell futile? Futile is F-U-T-I-L-E. Yep, okay. Almost there. But double smiley face, 𝗖𝗎𝗡𝗡𝗘𝗖𝗓, and 𝗪𝗓𝗡 joining in with teddy bear to get the right answer. Okay, well done for those who got it right. Not sure if 𝗪𝗓𝗓 intended to put an answer, but be careful, okay? Even if you know the word, be careful with your spelling, otherwise you'll make a careless mistake with the spelling of certain words and you end up losing guaranteed marks. Okay, so be careful of that. This, however, only increased my curious. Curious is the adjective, you're looking for the noun. So this is the wrong word form for curious. You don't need the adjective, you need the noun over here. What is the noun of curious? We have Wei-Jun's answer, followed by double smiley face, K and teddy bear coming in with curiosity. Okay, along with 𝗪𝗪𝗧𝗛 and 𝗪𝗓𝗡𝗓 wrapping it up. All of you have gotten it right, and once again being very careful with your spelling over here. When you, sorry. When you change curious the adjective to curious the noun, make sure the U in the middle is taken away. Okay? Remove the U in the middle when changing away from the adjective to the noun. It's no longer there, remove the U. So, do you want to break into this mysterious mention with me? Okay, mystery. How do you spell mysterious here? I think Wei Jun has their answer very early on just now, along with double smiley face and K, and Nat joining in as well with mysterious. Okay, well done. Mysterious. Mystery, right? Like mystery books, mystery movies, and then mysterious. Excuse me. Okay, well done, 𝗪𝗪𝗧𝗛 and 𝗪𝗓𝗡𝗓 as well. Wrapping up, before the next question, I know that our parents would strong oppose. This is a word form mistake. Why? Why is this a word form mistake? In this case here, strong describes oppose, right? And oppose is a verb. So if you have an adjective describing a verb, this adjective must be in the form of an adverb. Okay, that's where the verb adverb comes from. The word adverb is an adjective for a verb. So what is the adverb form of strong over here? It is strongly. Yep, Nat has correctly pointed it out as well. It needs to be an adverb because it is an adjective describing an action, in this case here, oppose. But they will never find out so long if we do not tell them. So which should be the correct replacement for if? Okay. Right, Nat, so long as we do not tell them. Okay. As long as we do not tell them, they will never find out. Right, well done for double smiley face and teddy bear for getting the right answers as well. And finally, wrapping it up with a pretty tricky spelling question, I've attached in this email pictures of the mention for your reference. How do you spell reference? How many R's are there in reference? Alright, be careful, okay? Reference has 2 R's. One in the front, one in the middle. Okay, don't let the misspelling trip you up over here. These 2 R's over here are meant to catch you off guard. It should only be a single R in the middle. Okay, so well done, Nat, Wei Jun, double smiley face, and teddy bear for getting the right answer for our editing passage. Okay, well done, very strong editors in our chat over here for today's session. Okay. Alright, and that brings us to the end of our editing passage for today. Do you have any further questions from our viewers? Right, if you have any burning questions or clarifications, please feel free to drop in at our website in our bio. Drop by with a DM, or you can contact us also on our various communication channels to let us know if any questions or to clarify what we've discussed so far about our TikTok live sessions, or as well as the sessions we have in our centers. Otherwise, we'll be taking a short break in the afternoon over here for all of you to go off for your tea breaks and to take a rest, maybe to recharge and get refreshed. We'll be back at 4:30 with teacher Jia Jun. Okay, take a look at a different paper, if I'm not wrong. Okay, so look out for this space over here. We'll be back in about 20 minutes time, 15-20 minutes or so, where teacher Jia Jun will carry on the baton with a second set of practice papers. Okay. Once again, thank you very much for everyone who has joined in this afternoon live stream and has participated actively. I hope I've resolved and answered some of your questions. As always, if you have any further questions, please feel free to contact us on the communication channels and social media platforms available on the screen. Otherwise, this is all I have for you. I'll see you all next time. Bye bye.